Our next question is anonymous. Somebody would like to know if a plot of ground 50 feet long, 20 feet wide, covered with loam 6 feet deep, how many cubic yards of loam would be required to cover this area? I'll take this one to the board. First of all, the easiest way to set up this problem is draw your figure. And label your sides. This is 50, this is 20, and it has a covering of 6 feet on it. Okay, the way you would do this is multiply your length times your width times your depth. So that's 50 times 20, which is 1,000, times times 6. This gives you 6,000. You then convert this to yards because the question was asking for cubic yards. This converted to yards is 27 cubic yards. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, John, a senior at St. Mary High School, wanted to know, who are the presidential candidates for the race of 1988? Well, John, we have Reverend Jesse Jackson, George Bush, Dukakis, Gore, Simon, and Pat Robertson.
Our next question is another math problem from Jennifer at Cooper Elementary. Jennifer asks, what is 192 divided by 3? Let me go to the board to help you with this one, Jennifer. (192) divided by 3. First of all, we try dividing the 3 into the first digit of the divisor. It's not big enough, so therefore we go to the first two numbers, 19. 3 will go into 19 6 times. We multiply 6 times 3 and subtract it from 19. We get 1. We now bring the 2 down and divide 3 into the 12, which is 4, with no remainder. Therefore, your answer is 64.
Our next question is an English question from John. John's a 9th grader at Reedland. The question is, who is known as the father of the modern detective novel? The father of the modern detective novel is known and is Edgar Allan Poe. I hope this helps you.
Our next question is from Monica, a 6th grader at Paducah Middle. Monica would like to know, what is the strongest animal? Monica, the strongest animal is an insect, and it's the ant.
Okay, we just received a question from Kelly, who's a 6th grader at Lone Oak, and she wanted to know, how do you impress a boy? Well, Kelly, you must have a pleasing personality, be easygoing, honest, and truthful. But basically, I would recommend to just be yourself, Kelly.
My next question comes from John, a 9th grader at Reedland. His is an English question. He asks, who is known as the father of the modern detective novel? That, John, would be Edgar Allan Poe.
The next question is a math question. It's from Michael. He's an 8th grader at Reedland. And the question is, how do you find simple interest? I'm going to go to the board to explain this one. The basic formula for finding interest is interest equals principal times rate times time. An example of a problem would be if you invested $500 at 6% interest for 2 years. What you would do is take 500 and multiply it by 600ths, which is the same thing as 6%, and then multiply that by 2. The answer, therefore, is $30 interest. I hope that helps.
My next question is from Clay, a 12th grader at Tillman. Clay wants to know what a goiter is. A goiter is a malfunction in the thyroid gland which is caused by a deficiency of iodine. Hope that answers your question, Clay.
My question is from Jennifer from St. Mary's. She's an 8th grader, and her subject area she wanted to talk about was science. Why is breathing car exhaust dangerous? Because car exhaust is mainly carbon monoxide, which prevents oxygen from reaching the blood cells. The blood cells die without nutrition. This causes the victim to fall unconscious and die. I hope I answered your question.
Our next question comes from Randy, an 11th grader at St. Mary High School. His is a biology question. He asks, what are the biggest artery and veins in the human body? The answer to that is the biggest artery would be the aorta, which leads from the heart to all the major organs and the smaller arteries of the body. The biggest vein would be the vena cava, which lead back to the heart. I hope that answers your question, Randy.
Our next question is a science question from Bo of Reedland. And his question is, how does the space shuttle escape Earth's gravity? Basically, the shuttle's force is greater than the force of gravity, and its outward thrust pushes it outward of the atmosphere. I hope this helps.
My next question is from Christina. She goes to Paducah Middle. She wants to know, how long does a red blood vessel live inside a human body? Well, Christina, a red blood vessel will go on living as long as it is in the human body, but once it escapes through a cut or something, it dies.
My next question is from Rebecca. She goes to Reedland High School, and she's an 8th grader. Her subject area is in biology. What causes a heart attack? When blood vessels in the heart muscles become blocked, an area of the heart muscle dies. Then the heart does not function anymore. This causes a heart attack. Thank you for your question.
Our next question comes from Anna from Lone Oak. Hers is an English question. She asked me to diagram "shut the door," and she also asked, what is the subject of the sentence? Let me quickly go to the board for this one. Shut the door, the verb, of course, is shut. And the direct object is door, with the being your noun announcer. The subject of this sentence is an understood you, so therefore you put it in parentheses in the subject position. Thank you for calling in your question.